Hello and welcome to Module 9 of Estate and Probates Management. In this module, we shall be looking at retrieving deceased properties without a will. That is step-by-step practical guide. Step-by-step practical guide to intestate estate administration. The module content here include immediate step after death, that is documentation and asset identification, application for letter of administration, step-by-step guide, recovering financial assets, then recovering non-financial assets like land, uh, vehicle, business interest, and digital assets. We'll also look at challenges like dispute or loss of documents. Then we'll also look at legal safeguards and avoiding common mistakes before we draw our conclusion. Let us begin with the introduction. The challenge of intestacy, where there is no will, the law provides the path. When a person dies without a will, that is intestacy, their property doesn't just disappear. It must be retrieved, managed, and distributed according to the law. The problem is, without a will, there is no appointed executor or to act. Then the solution is that a legal process involving letter of administration to appoint an administrator. The goal of this module is to provide a practical step-by-step guide to navigating this process from the moment of death to final distribution. Now let us look at step 1, immediate action after somebody died. So immediately somebody died, the first action you must take, secure the foundation before approaching to the court. The first 72 hours are critical to prevent loss and fraud. So number one thing to do is obtain official document like the death certificate from either National Population Commission or hospital. Then number two document you need to update is medical certificate of cause of the death. Now, the number three document you may need is burial permit where it is required. Then, having done that, number two step is identify and secure the asset. So all the asset may be financial. So the financial asset, locate the bank book or the share certificate or insurance policies. So locate them and secure them. Then non-financial assets include secure the land title, that is C of O, vehicle papers or business record. Then physically secured, lock up all properties, inform bank to freeze the deceased account. Then number three step, notify the key parties like the family, employer, and the creditors. Now, step 2, that is the key to estate or letter of administration. What is letter of administration? Letter of administration, by way of definition, is a legal document issued by the High Court, that is the probate registrar. It grants the administrator the legal authority to manage and distribute the deceased estate. It is the essential key that unlocks all assets. Then who can apply for this letter of administration? The order of priority. The surviving spouse can apply, the adult children can apply, the parents of the deceased person can apply, the siblings can apply, or other next of kin. So the following persons can apply for letter of administration. Now, let us look at step 2, that is applying for letter of administration, step-by-step process. That is navigating the probate registry. The number one thing to do is to gather the document like the death certificate, application form, ID, passport, photos, or list of beneficiaries. Then number two, prepare estate inventory. That is a detailed list of all the assets and liability. Then number three, you now file application, submit forms to the probate register in the state where the deceased live. Then number four, pay the probate fee of a percentage of the gross estate value, usually 10% in Lagos. Then publish a notice. A 21-day public notice is published to allow for objection, that is caveat. Then number six, you now receive your letter of administration. If no objection is being found, the court will now issue letter of administration. Having known that, let us look at critical document, that is the estate inventory, a comprehensive list of what the deceased own and owe. Now we have types of assets. We have real estate, such as location, title deeds number, C of O, survey details. Then we have a type of a bank account, like bank name, account number, and estimated balance. Then we have investment like stock brokers, company name, number of share. We have vehicle like registration number, model, and year of. So the description there includes registration number, model, year of the make. Then we have business interest. The description could be partnership deed, company registration, and inventory. Then we have the liability. The liability include outstanding bank loan, unpaid taxes, and creditors' names. Having known that, let us look at the step 3, recovering financial asset, how you can recover the financial asset. So here, turning paper into authority, uh, turning paper authority into money in the bank. So with the letter of administration in hand, approach each of the institution, approach the bank, present the letter of administration, the death certificate, and your ID. Then the bank will open an estate account and transfer the fund. Then with your letter of administration in hand, approach share and stock, contact the company register or your stockbroker, complete the share transmission form to transfer or resell the share. Then approach the pension, go to the deceased pension fund administration, submit letter of administration, death certificate, and claim forms to release uh, the pension's balance. Then approach the insurance, submit the claim to the insurer with your letter of administration, death certificate, and the original policy. Let us look at the step 4, recovering non-financial asset, that is transferring ownership of physical property. So land and building, take the letter of administration and a deed of assent after by the lawyer to the land registrar. Then the registrar update the title from the deceased name to the beneficiary. Then vehicle, go to the vehicle license authority, example MVAA, present the letter of administration and vehicle papers to transfer ownership. Then business interest, update record at the Corporate Affairs Commission, decide to sell the business or continue operation under the new management. So these are step 4. Now, under same step 4, the modern challenges, that's the digital asset. Don't forget the digital footprint. Digital assets are increasingly valuable and must be accounted for. So what to look for includes cryptocurrency wallet like Bitcoin and Ethereum, online payment account like PayPal, business account, monetize social media or YouTube channel, domain name, and website. So how to recover them? Identify the platforms and the provider, contact their legal department, then present letter of administration to request access or transfer of ownership. Let us look at the common challenges, that is dispute and loss of document. That is navigating roadblock in the process. The family dispute. A relative can file a caveat to stop the grant of letter of administration. Solution: family mediation or court intervention to resolve who should be the administrator. Then in the case of lost or missing document, example C of O or share certificate, without documentation you cannot prove ownership. Solution: you have to use the letter of administration to apply for certified true copy from the issuing authority such as land registry. So when you lose your document, you have to use your letter of administration to apply for a certified true copy from the issuing authority. Then common challenges too, that is hidden asset and creditor, which involve ensuring a complete and fair distribution. Hidden on undisclosed asset, the family may not know about all the account or property. So the solution: conduct a thorough search of personal record, notify institution to come forward. Then outstanding debt. Creditors have a legal right to be paid before beneficiary. Mistake: paying beneficiary before creditor is a very serious mistake. The consequence is that the administrator become personally liable for the unpaid debt. Solution: publish a creditor notice to allow creditors to make their claims, verify all claims, and then pay all valid debt first. Now let us look at legal safeguard, that is protecting the administrator, how to avoid personal liability. Legal safeguard: obtain a letter of administration before you act. So before acting, you must obtain a letter of administration. Common mistake is intermeddling, that is managing asset without authority. When you must not have obtained letter of administration, you begin to manage the asset. It is a very big, it's a serious mistake. Then number two, pay all creditors first. Common mistake is distributing assets while debt are still outstanding. It's a very serious mistake. Then number three, maintain detailed financial record. The common mistake is that poor documentation leading to dispute. Then number four, distribute assets according to the law. Common mistake is arbitrarily favoring one beneficiary over another. So it's a very serious mistake. Then lastly, avoid conflict of interest. That is using estate property for personal gain. So it is a very serious mistake. The key point here is that following the rules protect the administrator and ensure the process is lawful. Now let us look at the small estate exception, that is simplifying procedure for low value estate. Some Nigerian states have recognized that the full probate process, that is with a 10% fee, can be too expensive for small estate. What is a small estate? It is a threshold. The threshold varies by state. Example, estate value under a certain amount like 5 million or 10 million is regarded as a small estate. The benefit is a simplified application process. It reduces or waive probate fees, and it is faster insurance issuance of administrative authority. So check your state specific administration of estate law for the current threshold. In conclusion, the key takeaway here is a systematic approach to intestate administration. One, act fast but legally. Secure document and asset immediately, but do not distribute anything without legal authority. Two, the letter of administration is everything. It is the single most important document for recovering any asset. Number three, be thorough. Create a complete inventory of financial, physical, and digital assets. Four, follow the order. Debt and tax first, then distribute to the beneficiary. Five, stay transparent. Clear record and communication prevent disputes and protect the administrator from liability. Mastering these steps ensure that estates are handled efficiently, fairly, and in full compliance with the law. Thank you and have a nice day.